Hello everyone, Ricky here from Koi Wholesale. We're going to start a new series called Question Time. We stuck a post out on Facebook last week where we invited you to bring in send us your questions, any topic related to koi and koi keeping, and I'm going to get sat down every week and work through some of them questions, hopefully give some advice where possible. So let's get to it. First question we've got is, what would a newbie to the koi keeping hobby need to look for in high quality koi for their pond? I appreciate this is an absolute minefield for anybody just getting into koi. In truth, it's an absolutely huge topic that we're not going to break down just in this one video, so I'm just going to try and summarize some advice which will be useful and hopefully help change your mindset to hopefully create some better purchases in the future. So I think the biggest part you need to look at here is you need to learn to look beyond the pattern. This is a bit that a lot of people, 9 out of every 10 are drawn to a fish because of its pattern. It's perfectly natural, it's the bit that makes them unique, it's the bit that makes them stand out, but it's also the bit that trips most people over when it comes to understanding true quality fish. The pattern, in breaking down the points of quality of koi, body shape ranks absolute top, number one, most important choice. Followed on from that, we've got the skin quality, then the pattern. Now, it's not just a case of 1, 2, 3. They are all very important, don't get me wrong, but for a koi to be deemed truly high quality, it could have the best pattern in the world, but if the body's not there and the skin's not there, it's never going to be deemed a truly high quality fish. So it's very difficult to look beyond it. Like I said, in my case, it's years and years of learning and experience, to the point where some subtleties in pattern I don't even pick up. Getting to that point though is very difficult. Looking beyond it, you do sort of need a checklist to work through. So I'd probably advise you having a bit of when you're looking at a potential new purchase, when it's in a bowl or you're swimming around the pond, just ask yourself what it is that is appealing to you. If it is the pattern, then make a very conscious effort to get it in a bowl, break down, make sure the body shape is there, and make sure there's some level of quality to the skin. If you just chase pattern, high chances are that these are the type of fish that as they become older, the quality is just going to disappear. So in essence, they're not very good value for money, and that's the way I look at koi. It's more of a long-term project. Real quality takes time to develop. So in young purchases, you've got something there which is going to last you 7, 8, 9 years before it sort of gets anywhere near its peak, and even then there's going to be a lot of quality still. So yeah, like I said, as difficult as it is, try and overlook just being attracted to a fish because of that, and look at some of the more important qualities as well. I mentioned before how important the body form of the fish is, the body shape. Now, yeah, if you're new to this, I get that you probably don't know a lot about body shapes in particular. What you're looking for in an absolute, very small summary is a nice elongate body form. In younger fish, it doesn't want to be too bulky, too wide. If you starting at the head, you want a nice broad, long head with a good wide mouth and good length to the body as it goes down. You want a small taper as well, thicker at the shoulders, then tapering off towards the tail tube. If it's too thick all the way throughout, especially in a younger fish, it could be a sign that it's the type of body that might not grow particularly well. Just coming back to the body shape thing, this really is what sets Japanese koi apart from all of the others in the world, and where they really have mastered it. Now, there are a lot of different types of body shapes. Varieties such as Showa, for example, have typically a more stout body frame, as opposed to Sanki and Kohaku, which are a more elongate body form. So there are variances, but the qualities that I mentioned before in looking at the sort of head proportions and general body proportions all stand no matter what the variety is. Now, the Japanese have really perfected the body shape of their fish over the years, and it is still the overriding quality that, in my opinion, sets them apart from everywhere else in the world. Learning about body will get you a long way, and like I've said before, in my opinion, no fish can be considered high quality unless you learn to, or unless it's got a really strong body shape. So yeah, learn what you can about it. Like I say, there's a lot of different types out there, but ultimately, with this being the most important quality, you do need to learn to pay attention to it. The last point that I've got in regards to quality, and this is a tip to hopefully try and make your budget stretch that bit further, is you need to learn to be a little bit open-minded about purchasing younger fish in particular, and not go looking for perfection. This is something I see drive a lot of people crazy. It comes back to 2 points when they're analysing a fish: pattern and then perfection in the pattern. Perfection with koi doesn't exist. Few koi, top All Japan Grand Champions have come close, or maybe what some people regard as perfect fish, but ultimately it's not there for most of us. So I think a lot of real quality fish do get overlooked because A, people are blinded by the pattern, and B, they're looking for too much perfection in everything, when, you know, if you buy in at the age of 1, 2 and even 3, there's still a lot that's going to happen and a lot that's going to change, and understanding that can help you go a long way. Probably the best example I can give on this is with Shirotsuri. That variety is one that I find is hard to sell every year because people's expectations for the fish are up here, where 9 times out of 10 the budget is sort of down here, and what they're looking for is something too perfect, too young. So by this, I mean, I think the problem is people are looking for too much perfection in these fish too young, and this is where the issue comes. With Shirotsuri in particular, when everything is there, the body shape's good, the skin quality is good, and it's got that killer pattern with all the sumi up, that's an expensive fish. No matter what kind of breeder that comes from, given that variety and those qualities, it's going to be expensive. Now, where you can win with these types of, or with Shirotsuri in particular, is learning that in a lot of cases, when you're buying them at 1 and 2 years old, a lot of the sumi is not actually going to be there, and you've got to give it some time. Now, in Japan, with the softer water, sumi tends to really sit down in the skin with those, so sometimes breeders have got fish which are not necessarily, in their eyes, they could be thinking that's going to take too long, so they don't want to keep it, and they'll sell it off generally a bit cheaper than what they would if all the sumi was out and everything was looking good. So, you know, for us to get hold of a fish like that, bring it back to the UK where the water's harder and the sumi generally does a lot better, you've got a chance of winning and actually getting a fish, you know, getting far much more value for your money, and a much higher level fish on a better budget than you would have done chasing after perfection. The thing with sumi as well, in Shirotsuri and many other fish, is it takes time to come up from deeper. Sumi takes time to progress, whether that's coming up from deeper in the skin on one type, or another type of sumi that develops in the top of the skin. Either way, it's not just there instantly in probably 70-80% of cases. So, you know, you take a young shower, even then, for example, if you're looking at a young shower that's got a certain type of sumi that we know can develop quickly, it's just at 2 years old, the sumi's not quite there, it looks a bit messy, give that some time in the right conditions, 1-2 years later, you could have a cracking pattern and a fish that would possibly cost 2 or 3 times the price of what you actually paid. So, I hope that's useful. Like I say, it's a very broad topic, so if you do have any more questions, what I would recommend, or you know, you want to know more about anything I've said, pop a question in the comments below, and you know, we'll when the camera's out again, we'll get back to you with some more answers on that. So with this particular Deutsch Sankey, this is actually a fish that I raised over the summer last year from, it was around about 18 cm at the time, it's now 32 cm.
was always a standout fish from the very beginning, but it's always been more of a Deutsch Kohaku than a Deutsch Sankey, which was never an issue for me, but I knew this was a fish that generally, you know, wouldn't be accepted by most customers due to the lack of sumi, and that's where a lot of people are going to go wrong. So as you can see from this certificate, this picture was actually taken back in around October, I think it was. You can already see very little sumi, very appealing. The body form is absolutely exceptional. The Benny quality is excellent, white skin superb. The head was a little bit yellow at the time, but that's fine because I knew the environment and the diet it had been on was going to be causing most of that. So now if we look at this fish since it's been conditioning in the cooler water in the past couple of months, you can see that the sumi development has been quite incredible. There's sumi falling and developing absolutely everywhere. It's really well balanced. The quality, as you can see, especially here, it's really nice, really high quality sumi that matches the rest of the fish really. There's more developing down this side, we see just on the gill plate there and here. So there's lots more to come with this. In another 2 or 3 months time, once that's progressed some more, it's really going to look like a completely different fish to what it did, and one which then will all of a sudden become desirable. However, at that point, it's a fish that's been invested, I've took the risk with it, and it is going to be a higher valued fish than it would have been when I first offered it for sale back in October, had somebody else taken the gamble with it. So you can also see small things which are conditioning. The head is now looking much whiter compared to what it did back in October. That's because the diet's changed, there's no more colour food been going in there. The environment's less intense as well, and we've been conditioning as opposed to growing. So I think this is a prime example of why you have to give fish a chance. I was always confident the sumi was going to come, just other people didn't see it and weren't prepared to take the risk. So yeah, watch out for these ones. They're hidden gems, and it's always worth investing the time, buying a couple of fish that's, you know, got half a chance, as opposed to going all in one, which might not deliver, and just spreading your bets a little bit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this one can do moving forwards. So with this fish, again, it's just the same as the last one, harvested around the same time, photographed on here and offered for sale around the same time. It's another one which, this is actually the best Deutsch Sankey I produced from the batch. Really a lot of potential for this one, really superb body shape and bone structure. Again, it's just a matter of waiting for the sumi, which I've no issue in doing. You can already see in areas, especially here and closer to the shoulder, that sumi is progressing well just in the past couple of months. In another 2 months time, it's going to look completely different again. The skin's conditioned up well. And yeah, with this one we can actually see a little bit more underlying sumi in the skin. Just there near the dorsal area we can see the blue where that black is sat waiting to come up. It's in that area there. This is actually really highly desirable, what's known as subo sumi as well, where the sumi actually sits on the white skin. We've got it happening down here as well. So this is a really promising fish, and again, people have the opportunity to purchase this back in October when it wasn't this far progressed. Since then it's developed a lot. I'm actually not planning on selling this now until it's looking a lot more like the finished article. It might even stay for another season here at Koi Wholesale to progress up to the next level. But another hidden gem that's been completely overlooked, where certainly inferior fish were sold above it just because the pattern was more finished at that time. So you really can't overlook stuff like this.
So the next question I've got is, what is the best advice you have been given from a Japanese koi breeder? Now, I had to sit and think about this for quite a while, to be honest. And when I boiled it down, I realised I've not actually really been given much advice from any Japanese koi breeders. What I have picked up from them over the years is a lot of hands-on practical tips, which go a lot further than the actual advice that they would generally give out. So when I have thought about it, I think generally I can boil this down to taking in all the different observations that I've picked up and things I've witnessed from working in Japan in the summer, just being there, just being in that environment in general at various different farms, is observation. That's the word. Observation is the best advice I can give from the learning experiences I've had in Japan. When I look at everything, the success with Japanese koi breeders literally does boil down, in my opinion, to that one thing. That's observing health conditions, observing feeding behaviours, observing body shapes when you're feeding to make sure you get the right results and the fish are on track. Observation when they're doing selections, observation of the success of parent sets. Nearly everything, every single topic can come back to that one word. And yeah, from everything I've seen, the best experience was probably back in 2006 when I was actually working out in Japan on some farms. I'd not long finished school, was straight off out there. It was a great experience, but looking back on that trip in particular, the eye-opener was the level of observation and attention to detail that they pay to everything, the quality of the surroundings, observing the condition of the water in the mud ponds, observing the behaviour for feeding, observing the health condition when you could see the fish, which was obviously difficult, but when we were doing selections, observing the fish, separating different sizes, and obviously identifying the quality, it all boils back to that. And when I think about my own successes as a koi keeper, observation sat right there at the heart of it as well. You avoid a lot of stuff, i.e. bacterial problems, for example. When your observation's good, you notice a change in behaviour pretty quickly, and then from that, you notice a change in behaviour, you go to identify an issue, probably pick up some parasites or something wrong with the water, you deal with it, problems are avoided. When you don't observe your fish well and you miss those problems, the issues then arise because the parasite problem's left, it does a load of damage, bacteria sets in, or your water quality gets out of hand. You miss that your KH is dropping, and all of a sudden you have a pH crash and you lose fish. So if the observation had been there in the first place, none of that would have happened. So yeah, probably not the answer most people would be expecting, but like I say, it's been more hands-on practical stuff that the eyes have just picked up over the years and boiled down. I really do think that the true key to successful koi keeping is to observe what's going on and act accordingly. So yeah, there we have it. So that's been question time for this week. We've still got plenty of questions to run through. Be absolutely great if you've got anything to ask regards to anything said in today's video. Please pop it in the comments below. Yeah, if you want to look out for the next video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications so you will get a prompt whenever there's a new video uploaded. Thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you all again soon.